right, everybody. Welcome to the 14th episode of the Man to Man podcast. I have water on my hands and I have no towel up here. I'm very frustrated. Tom, it's a special day. Tom is finally 21. He is going to drink alcohol for the first time in his life tonight. Tom, happy birthday. Tell us about, you were telling me before, and tell everyone else how great your day is going so far.
It has been absolutely fantastic. Last night at 10 p.m. when I was coming back from dinner with my buddy, I got an email saying that my class at 8:35 this morning was canceled because my teacher needed to get a COVID vaccine. So I'm like, all right, that's dope. He gave us an assignment, though, which kind of sucked. But I woke up at 10 and did that. And when I was done with my thing, I looked down at my phone. Another email from my other professor that my 1 o'clock was canceled. So here we are at 1 o'clock, baby.
Look at it. It's a full year later, and COVID is still causing people to cancel classes. That's awesome, though. So, yeah. You got any plans for the night? Like, or is it just kind of you're letting everyone else deal with it, and you're just going to fly by the seat of your pants?
No, I'm having some of my family over for a little dinner that we're going to do just because that's what I wanted to do. I don't know. So I'm having my grandma come over, my uncle, and maybe one of my cousins just to stay in or whatever. And then I'm pretty sure that my friends have been trying to make a secret plan to steal me from my house and take me.
Are you sure? Because that's going to be that's something that if you think is going to happen and that doesn't happen, that will ruin your birthday. If after dinner you're like, all right, I'm ready to go, and your friends are like, oh, so what are we doing? No, they need to have it planned out for you.
No, like I'm pretty sure because they were asking me a bunch of stupid, weird questions last night about what I was doing and when my grandmother was leaving, and so like I'm like pretty sure it's happening, but like we're gonna see.
You also did it the right way. I know a lot of people, and I did this when I turned 21. I went out today was my birthday. I went out like last night. And then at midnight, people were letting me in. And then that just leads to your actual birthday sucking because you don't remember any of it. But, yes, that is the smart way.
Bro. I was going to do that, but none of the bars here in Jersey are open past 10 o'clock.
Are you going to go to the Jersey Shore?
I have a shore house down there, so I could potentially do that. But I got work tomorrow morning.
Oh, yeah. Well, that sucks. Well, I guess we'll talk about it when we get to it. But, yeah, so everyone make sure you wish Tom a happy birthday. Tom, would you like me to put your, Venmo or Cash App on here if people want to send you money?
No.
I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. Probably someone would send you a couple bucks. I'm not going to lie. But
I mean, if they want to, it's THB315. Just like my Twitter.
Just soliciting for money now. So obviously we have a ton to talk about today.
Best time of year, baby.
It's great. Yeah. I mean, conference championship weekend was awesome. There was a lot of good games. It was weird yesterday. I still don't understand why the Big Ten decides to play their conference championship game on a Sunday. It just doesn't make much sense to me.
Oh, I'm still here, but Justin got booted. Yikes. Yeah, conference championship weekend was just absolutely insane. Right, Justin?
You froze on me. You froze
and you got kicked out.
No, you froze, and then I just left.
Both of us froze on my
screen. No, you were frozen on my screen.
On my screen, both of us froze, and my screen went black, and then when you left, I kicked back on.
No. All right. Well, yes, like I said, conference championship week was incredible.
Beautiful. So much fun.
There's a lot of good games on. I mean, any thoughts really? I mean, Georgetown and Oregon State. Georgetown and Oregon State legitimately stole two bids from – I mean, if you're one of those first four out, especially one of the first, two, I mean, you got to look at that and be like – I mean, Georgetown had no business winning that tournament.
Absolutely not. But they beat they beat Villanova and they beat Creighton. I mean, deserved.
It's Creighton. It's not Creighton.
Literally everyone I talk to – whatever.
Okay, you're wrong.
Creighton. So I feel like I got punched in the face. Creighton.
I am going to punch you in the face.
Do it.
So before we get into – we're going to go over our West and East – or East what? Yeah, West and South, I think. Did I put that? Yeah.
I think on the outline you put –
I put West and East. Yeah, we're doing West and East today. So it's the left side of your bracket, I believe. We're going to do that. But obviously, before we do that, we need to get into today in sports history and then talk about some other things. In 1869, the Cincinnati Red Stockings became the first professional baseball team. In 1935,
I didn't know they were the first one.
I think there's a lot of first pro football teams and everything. There's no way the Cincinnati Red Stockings. You know what? Maybe they were, because I know Cincinnati is one of the oldest teams in the MLB, but I don't know. In 1935, brilliant batsman George Headley steers West Indies to an innings victory over England in the fourth cricket test at Kingston, Jamaica, with a patient unbeaten 270. All right. One of these days I'm going to look up. What this stuff means, and
we're just going to do a cricket episode. We're going to explain cricket.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to find someone that actually plays cricket, and we're going to figure it out. But more cricket. In 1949, master batsman. Now that just sounds like he's probably the real deal. He was the best at the time. Master batsman Don Bradman receives his knighthood from the Governor General of Australia, retired Honourable W.J. McKell, at the investiture in Queen's Hall, Parliament House, Melbourne. That's awesome. The only other sports figure that I know that is knighted is Manchester United's old coach, Alex Ferguson, Sir Alex Ferguson. So clearly that guy was good.
Sir Paul McCartney. I know he was knighted.
Yeah, Paul McCartney sucks. I don't like the Beatles. So in our news for today, we will start out with a little bit of basketball. Obviously, Gonzaga is receiving the majority of the money at 2-1 odds, which is that's crazy. I don't. That's got to be. Those odds for a championship have to be the highest in 20-25 years. But so obviously the money's coming in on Gonzaga, but the bigger issue with them is, so Gonzaga was 2-1, and then Illinois and Baylor were 5-1. And up until this weekend, I guess most of the books across the country, including the big ones like William Hill, they had Michigan at 6-1. And I guess money flew in for that. I linked the article on there if you want to read it, but the money flew in for that. And basically the guys at all the sports books are saying if Michigan wins, the sports books are vulnerable right now. They could lose a lot of money to this year.
Yeah. But, I mean, if Gonzaga's really 6-1, I mean, Jesus.
No, it wasn't Gonzaga. I said Michigan. Okay.
Michigan. You didn't have it on here, so I figured you were talking Gonzaga. Yeah, even Michigan, though. Michigan's a 1 seed. You don't even see 6-1 for 1 seeds ever.
No, yeah. That's what I'm saying, because the other 2 1 seeds, Baylor and Illinois, were both 5-1, and for whatever reason, Michigan was 6-1. So, hey, I like to see Vegas lose, so whatever. I really wouldn't want Michigan to win, to be honest, but whatever.
I honestly
here we go with and here we go with our big NFL news. I think the Saints probably let out a huge sigh of relief when Drew Brees officially announced he retired. And I will say I think Drew Brees was great. I think he's a Hall of Famer. I don't think he's anywhere near the top 10 in my quarterbacks. I think a lot of better quarterbacks could have done a lot better than him in that offensive situation. So what are your thoughts on Drew Brees?
I've been a Drew Brees fan for a while. Have a bunch of jerseys of his, whether they're from the Chargers or a Purdue one, or I have a Saints one too. So I'm a big Drew Brees fan. It was sad to see him kind of go, but it was really time. I don't think the move shocked anyone.
I thought for sure he was going to come do a Big Ben thing and come back for one more year. But they have to be, well, you know what? We'll move on to the next part of that. And they have to be the dumbest organization. I am absolutely befuddled why they signed a backup quarterback / slot receiver to 4 years, $140 million. That's insane. No, literally, if you're going to try and defend this, don't even do it. You can
I'm
defend it
not
on
going
your
to
own
defend it.
in your writing or something because that is stupid.
No, it's very stupid, but it's a voidable contract. It saves them $7.5 million, and the rest is voidable. So literally next year, they're just going to say like, we're voiding the contract. Sorry, you're a free agent.
For Taysom Hill to play for any team that I liked, Taysom Hill would have to pay me. Taysom Hill is not a good NFL player.
No, he sucks.
I don't understand. I get that. I understand. Go ahead. Fine.
I was just going to say the Saints are just trying to clear cap space for this year, and they don't have to take him back next year. It's completely voidable. They're allowed to just cut him and say that's the deal. They don't pay him anything extra, and they're saving $7.5 million. That's all it is.
You're missing the point. You're looking at too much money. Sean Payton tried when they first drafted Taysom Hill and basically like used him as like that what he is now. Sean Payton was doing that on purpose because he wanted someone to have to pay a lot of money to get Taysom Hill out of New Orleans. And it didn't work, and they kept signing him. Taysom Hill shouldn't see the field next year. He is a practice squad player. Okay.
Sorry, I just got a bit of breaking news.
What's
from
your
the
news?
NFL. Jonnu Smith is going to be signing with the Patriots on a 4-year, $50 million deal next year.
Oh, well, there goes Hunter Henry. He's not going there then. Well, I guess they could use 2 tight ends, but I have a hard time believing that Belichick's going to pay huge money to 2 tight ends. So
right.
But I just don't.
Yeah, no. I hated the deal. I was appalled when I first saw it. When I saw it was completely voidable and that they were basically just going to cut him next year. The reason that they threw so much money onto it was to get him to say okay, to agree to clear out the money. But I still think it's really stupid because I haven't done a super deep dive into it, so I could be completely wrong, and they're going to have to pay him half. I don't even know. But it's a voidable deal is all I know. And from my understanding that they're allowed to just back out and not pay him anything. And he's only getting $2 million for this season, I think.
It's $2 million too much.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Like
no, I agree.
Like, I would rather sign a guy like Ryan Switzer to my practice squad that can return punts for me if I need him than sign Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill is one of the worst. I'm done. I'm just done. I'm moving on. Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua signed a 2-fight deal to unify the title belts. Boxing is not really as big as it was, but that's going to be 2 huge ones. I don't know if you remember the Fury fight from last time. So it should be a big one. I think money will probably go towards Fury, but I really haven't seen Joshua fight in a while, so I don't know. This morning, Archie Miller was fired from Indiana. He was the head basketball coach. I didn't know this, but Indiana has not made the tournament in the last 4 seasons. I didn't know that. So, but I mean, then you can't go to Indiana with you could literally recruit like basketball players from like in Indiana from like schools that have 100 people, and like I just don't. You can't. If you're in Indiana, you should get the best Indiana State prospects, but that's a whole different thing for recruiting. But not me. I honestly didn't know that. I didn't know they didn't make the tournament for the last 4 years. But that makes complete sense then. But yeah, it is a rough year though, I would say, because the Big Ten was very good this year. The ACC has announced that it will allow players to transfer schools within the conference. Beforehand, Tom, I think is the only dog. Beforehand, you would have to get a waiver signed by the school you were transferring from to sign on with another school within that conference. But the ACC is doing away with that, and they will be able to transfer within the conference, which it's kind of a mess all around itself, but whatever. And then finally, Penn State is set to hire Micah Shrewsbury as its next head basketball coach. He was just an assistant at Purdue, so good for him. I don't know if that's really a jump up because Penn State kind of sucks, but whatever. I have the NFL here. I guess we can skip the first 2. Is the Taysom Hill extension the worst in the history? Yes, it is.
Probably. I would have to go and look at what their worst are as of now and compare them to Taysom Hill's, but it's a very strong front runner.
So the only thing I'm a little bit happy I am really happy it's March Madness, but I am very happy because I'll probably hear something if it happens, but I won't have to pay attention to Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson. I'm so done with that. Like, I'm not as done with Deshaun Watson because I think he has a case. Russell Wilson needs to shut the fuck up.
I mean, I don't know. I think both are in similar situations.
I think they're not even near similar situations.
I understand that Russ is a little bit older and Watson's like in the prime of his career and everything, but I still think Russ has the abilities to win and to go all the way.
Oh, I agree, but we're about to see a change in Russell Wilson. The second he put, and this has nothing to do with New York, the Jets, really. Right. The second he put the Jets on his fake list of teams that he would be traded to, that's when it's over for Russell Wilson. He was in Seattle with Sierra, and Sierra is now sick of the Pacific Northwest and wants to go to a big city. And you can bet your bottom dollar that wherever Russ goes, it's going to be about family first now. Because we worried about Russell's football career for 10 years, and now it's time to do family first. I can't stand Russell Wilson. He annoys the hell out of me. I think he's a great football player, but I think he needs to shut up. He's won one Super Bowl, and he has flamed out of the playoffs in basically every year since the Super Bowl. So,
right. I mean, I don't know the whole list because I actually haven't been following the Russell Wilson thing so much because I know
the only list that I guess is the Bears seem like a decent spot.
I've heard only the Bears. I didn't even know that he had the Jets on his fake list.
Yeah, he did.
I don't even know what other teams were on that list. I don't know anything about it.
It was Chicago, New York. It was 4 big cities. So
Dallas, was Dallas on one of them?
No, I doubt it. I don't think so. I'm done with Russell Wilson. He is becoming to me now what Aaron Rodgers was after he won the Super Bowl, where he's just really good, but he annoys me and he's just never going to retire. And he's going to keep winning, probably keeping teams above 500 in the NFL for the next 5 years. But it's just and I know I've been saying all along that I back Deshaun Watson in this, but I'm just so sick of it. Like, just get something done or don't get it done. Like, I don't care. I just don't want to hear about it anymore.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
The fact, I mean, I understand the Texans really don't want to trade him, but the fact that they're not even picking up the phone and even listening to offers it's a weird move. I mean, the guy clearly doesn't want to play there. So I don't know. Yeah,
he's literally, I saw a stat on one of these Instagram pages that I follow. In 2017 or 18, the Texans had 6 Pro Bowlers. Currently, 5 of them are off of the team, and one of them and the last one wants out.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it all along. I mean, what Bill O'Brien did to the Texans, it'll probably never be done again in the history of football. So that's what happens when you get an idiot that used to coach at college and thinks he can do his own thing in the NFL. Okay, so we will move on to the big news of the day. March Madness. We kind of texted about it last night. Do you think they missed anyone real big?
Yeah, I mean, not that they missed anyone real big. And I think we were talking about it before the show went on. Georgetown and Oregon State stole 2 bids from people. Yeah. I mean, by going out and winning their conference championship, at least Georgetown, I was watching the Big East every single game that it was on. Georgetown had no business being in the tournament this year, but they went on an insanely hot streak where they beat Nova and Creighton, whatever you want to call them.
I'm just gonna edit this afterwards and beep it out. Go ahead.
So they had no business being in the tournament, but they beat a top 10. Was Nova top 10 when they beat them?
Yeah,
I think they were like Creighton, 7.
I think Creighton was like 11th or 12th.
They were 17. I know that.
Oh.
But they beat 2 top 25 teams to get in there. And then Oregon State, I didn't really follow as much. And you can tell me who they beat in their conference championship. But they, again, had no business being there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking up who they play. Or they played Colorado.
Yeah. Colorado's
so,
a good
I mean,
team.
I got to say, I mean, that even if Colorado won, that might have stolen some bids. I don't know.
Well, but the two teams that were first out apparently, and I was watching the selection show, obviously, and they brought in the men's D1 athletics coordinator or something, and he basically hinted like the two teams that were out that lost the spots to those two teams was Louisville and St. Louis, I believe it was.
Yeah, and you mean the guy from Kentucky, the 80 at Kentucky?
Yeah. But he's like the coordinator of the committee.
Yeah. I watched that too. But yeah, I mean, that sucks. But I mean, it happens, and it's just different. Like we've seen it. It happens every year, but it usually happens in like mid-major conferences, kind of.
Right.
But other than, I mean, but this is just different. I mean, it is kind of what we thought it was going to be. It's going to be a weird tournament that there probably could be a lot of upsets. I mean, I think just looking at the bracket, I mean, North Carolina and Wisconsin is an 8 versus 9 matchup. I mean,
yeah, that's going to be such a good game. Oh my goodness.
I mean, well, also, I mean, if you who's the 1 seed above them? Is it Baylor? Yeah, I mean, if I'm Baylor, I'm like, guys, what the fuck? Like, why did you do this to me?
Yo,
like, Baylor's
I'm surprised that they had Gonzaga and Iowa in the same corner of the bracket because they got to play I think that's the Elite Eight. Maybe it's the Sweet. No, it's the Elite Eight. They got to play in the Elite Eight. I would have figured they wanted them on separate sides to potentially play either in the Final Four or in the final.
Yeah, I will say I don't have a problem with Michigan being a number 1 seed, but I think it could have easily just gone to Ohio State as well. And I think there in the end, I think there were two number 1 seeds left behind Gonzaga and Baylor. And I think the committee probably figured out 2 weeks ago that those two teams were going to be Big Ten teams. So I don't know if once again, the Big Ten does this stupid thing where they play their championship on Sunday, like 20 minutes before the show.
Right.
But I mean, Ohio State won 4 games this weekend. So, I mean, I think they might have made a bigger push if they won, but still.
Going back to the point that you made with Baylor having to play the winner of North Carolina or Wisconsin as the 8-9, Ohio State is the 2 in that corner of the bracket. I mean, that's a loaded bracket in the South there. And
I haven't read fully into what is going to happen, I guess. But, I mean, it's going to be a weird tournament. I mean, say one of the number 16 seeds can't field a team. I mean, then they got to play Louisville in the first round.
Right, exactly. Or
so
I don't know how many. Do you know how many backup teams they have on the ready?
I think they go in tiers of 4. It's like the first 4 out, they go down that list, and the second 4 out, they go down that list. I mean, I would hope that enough players. I mean, because the NCAA announced you have to have 5 active players to play. I mean, I would hope they don't a lot of teams don't catch COVID, but you never know. So
right,
it's whatever. So yes, today we are going to go over the west and east sides of our brackets.
I did 6.
I have done none. I don't think I did it. Well, no one did a bracket last year because we didn't have it, obviously. But
sad.
I haven't done brackets in a while. Not that I don't. Well, I do more in my head, I guess. I just I don't know.
Yeah.
And I've never been really good at it since I was young because I always just pick teams I like. Like I want to see North Carolina go to the Final Four.
I kind of did that. That's why I do so many.
Yeah, it's just I mean, you know what I'm actually surprised at? You know how Warren Buffett is he has this thing where he'll give out $1 billion to the perfect bracket?
Right.
I mean, there has to be a bunch, like some nerds who are super smart out there that could create the bracket. Like you had, like from yesterday when it was released until like Thursday, they can probably run like every single simulation of the bracket. So I don't know if like they don't get the money, but if I was a super rich nerd and then could come up with like a formula for it, I would absolutely do it.
Yeah, I mean, I know ESPN, when I was filling out my bracket, you can hit a button now that says autofill bracket, and you can either do it randomly or they like do algorithms to like fill out the rest of your bracket. So if you want to say, okay, I don't want to guess the Sweet 16 on, you pick your Sweet 16 and hit the simulate, and it runs a bunch of simulations and stuff, and it changes every time when you hit it. But you could literally just randomize it and take their algorithm for it, which I think is cool, but like it also takes away a lot of the fun.
Yeah, because you're not actually picking.
Yeah, exactly. It's boring to me, but you
all
could.
Right, so like I said, we'll start on the west side over here in the left corner. So you're gonna have to read off. Could you have a bracket handy?
I have one of my 6 with all of my picks. So I have my first bracket here next to me.
Yeah. Just read off the games, and we'll talk about them, and then we'll go down through, and then go down all the way down through the first round. We'll do second round, third round.
Okay. So the first game is Gonzaga versus either North or App. So I'm assuming that's Appalachian State or Northern
State.
Yeah,
Norfolk State.
Norfolk. Okay.
I mean, Gonzaga's. Yeah,
Gonzaga. I mean,
right?
that's not.
I mean, Gonzaga might be the best college basketball team we've seen since like the 05-06 Gators.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that would be absolutely insane. But then again, it could be the year for it. So, but no, it's going to be Gonzaga. Let's not over.
Yeah, it's not. We're not going to push things too far. Yeah, come on
now. Oklahoma, Missouri is the next game. That's the 8-9.
Yeah, it's an old time Big 12 rivalry.
Yeah.
Oklahoma has been pretty good all year. I know they've beaten. They have a couple of quad one wins, but and then I don't really know much about Missouri, but I like Oklahoma. I think the Big 12 and the Big 10 are the two. I guess the SEC maybe, but I think the Big 10 is clearly, and then the Big 12 is one of the two of the best basketball conferences this year. So I will take a guy that plays in Big 12 over an SEC team because. Go ahead.
I was going to say that was my thought process as well. I figured that they were playing better competition all year, so they're more battle ready to take on the tournament, even though they're only going around.
Yeah. I mean, I like I said, I like Oklahoma. I haven't talked about Missouri basketball since Michael Porter Jr. was there. So I like Oklahoma. Move on.
Oh boy. Creighton versus UCSB.
UC Santa Barbara. Okay, that's definitely That's definitely a Creighton win. UC Santa Barbara is a really small school. They score a ton of points, but it's a California school. I don't trust California schools, and I think it's going to play a major factor. Not a major factor, but I think it'll be a small factor. Teams coming from the West all the way to Indianapolis. I think that's going to be a little bit different for them this year because usually, at least through the Elite Eight or I think the 3 Elite or the Sweet 16, one of the two, if you're in like the West region, you're still playing out West. So
yeah, that's it. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously it's not that big a deal, but I mean, it's a time change that you have to get used to. And I think some of Virginia's players I know, and some other teams, I think they haven't even joined. They're not going to go with the regular team to Indiana just yet. They're going to stay back, I guess. So
Yeah. Well, Virginia had that positive COVID case that they're waiting on, so that's like a weird situation.
oh yeah. Before we keep going, Coach K has not made his press conference yet, so I don't have to talk about that. But the fact that they came out with a report on Sunday morning that Duke would be available if they made the tournament. I mean, Coach K is a huge. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. They came out and they were like, if we make the tournament, and they didn't even get picked. They're embarrassing. Coach K is an idiot. I cannot wait until he's gone. And I mean, Duke sucks. They just suck. Okay, go on.
Okay.
But it even more. It's just the fact that because I guarantee he knew that everyone would think his angle was that everyone is getting better for this on his program. It's good they don't have to travel and things. It's not true. And then on Sunday, as a plea to the public to save little old Coach K's job, they say, "Oh, but if we do get selected, we'll play." You weren't even in they weren't even they weren't even considered for the tournament. They suck, and Coach K is an idiot. And the fact that came out is hilarious. And once again, I still can't wait till Coach K gives a stupid ass press conference that means nothing. What game are we in?
So it's funny that you actually brought up Virginia because next is Virginia versus Ohio.
Oh, I like OU.
I went with Virginia in a lot of mine. I know. Like I said, I changed it up a little bit just to not have the same bracket going forward, but I felt that I picked Virginia more than I picked Ohio.
Yeah, I like Ohio. They came into the MAC tournament as a 5 seed, and they just went on a roll and won the tournament. They beat Kent, who was one of the favorites, and they beat Buffalo, who was one of the favorites. And they beat Toledo, who was the favorite. So,
Wow.
And they just got hot, and they have like 3 or 4 guards that are really, really good from outside, and Virginia struggles against teams that can shoot the 3 and against teams that are more athletic than them.
Right.
I'm not going to say OU is more athletic than them, but OU can definitely shoot lights out if it wants to.
Right.
And I think the Virginia brand of basketball is very boring. I really don't like it. I will say I think it works, but it's also the reason why Virginia got beat as a number 1 seed, and it'll probably be the only time it'll ever happen again. It was because of the way they play. They play in a way where they allow teams to get back in the game way more easily than because even if you're down by 10 to Virginia, if they miss a shot, and I mean, you can just by going fast, you can get it down to a 4-point lead in minutes. So
right.
I don't like Virginia. I've never really, like I said, I don't understand their style of play. I get that it works. I don't understand how they're always in the top 10 at Ken Pom because their offense is disgustingly bad. But I really do like OU here. OU hasn't made the tournament since 2012. And in 2012, they made it to the Sweet 16, eventually lost to North Carolina in the Sweet 16.
Right.
So I like OU.
Yeah, I mean, Virginia also just kind of has the mentality, I thought, to just okay, we messed up last time. Why don't we try and come back? So I don't think of them as a very strong 4 seed. I actually think they're very much on the weaker side. So I this is one where I could potentially see an upset happening that not a lot of people would think just because of the name of the school. But I did have Virginia more often than not just because I think that the program is going to have that mentality to figure it out after getting knocked out last time.
Virginia is the reigning national champion.
Really?
Yeah, we didn't have one last year, and they won the year before.
I kind of forgot that they won the year before.
Yeah, they beat Texas Tech in overtime.
Right. Oh, my God. I remember that because I had Texas Tech going all the way. Versus Virginia. I was so mad. Oh, I would have won like $300 just on that bracket. Oh,
I'm pretty sure I honestly, in that tournament, I think I had Virginia getting beat again as a 1 seed, but whatever. Go to the next game.
The next game is USC versus the winner of Wichita and Drake. Wichita State and Drake.
The MVC is not as good this year as it has been in the past. Wichita isn't as good as they were in the past at one point.
Didn't they have
And
Fred
USC,
VanVleet?
yeah, they had Fred VanVleet. Yeah,
That's what I thought.
Fred VanVleet and Ron Baker.
Yeah, I knew Ron Baker.
The shooter, the kid with the red hair. Yeah. But neither of these teams are going to be able to stay with USC because they have not Ivan Robb. They have what's his name? You know his name.
You're gonna say it. Oh, well, there goes Justin. Evan Mobley. That's the guy he's thinking of. Yeah, Evan Mobley is going to potentially be a lottery pick for this upcoming draft, I think. Evan Mobley is absolutely insane. He's super athletic, able to shoot the ball relatively good. But yeah, Evan Mobley could be like Ja Morant was 2 years ago, I guess it is now, where he was the whole team. He propelled them forward. I don't actually have the USC going as far though. I don't have them. Oh boy, what's going on here?
I totally accidentally. So I have it on my. I exited out of it and I kept talking for like 30 seconds.
I know. I'm like, oh, he's gone. But yeah, it's Evan Mobley.
Yes. His brother plays for them as a sophomore too. Because I said Evan Mobley and I was like, this has gotten really quiet. Like I can't even hear him breathing. And I was like, oh my God, I exit out. Yeah. Evan Mobley is one of those players that can beat a team by yourself. That's
what I was saying. I said that he could be like Ja Morant, where he propels them forward, like Ja did for Murray State.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, a big man, having a big man that's skilled like that, kind of plays in and out of the hands of basketball, like at this stage. But I mean, yeah, I think no one's gonna have Wichita State or Drake aren't gonna have
much of a chance.
Anyone that can cover him. So
I think I had it in one bracket where I think that I picked that upset, but I agree.
And not to mention, I mean, the USC already comes in as a heavy favorite because that'll be whoever they play second game in 2 days, 3 days.
Right.
So
right.
I mean, it's always not looked at as such like a major advantage, but it is. It's a huge advantage. You have a lot more rest than the other team.
Right. I mean, yeah, you covered it. I was talking when you were out a little bit about his skill set and everything. So
yeah, it'll be very interesting to see in the NBA. Like I think Luka Garza could be the first Wooden Award winner that doesn't get drafted.
Get drafted.
I watched them play over the week. He's good because he's big. And there are bigger and more athletic people in the NBA. I do think he'll get drafted in the second round just because someone will take him. But I don't really think he has an NBA future. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, he needs to get a little more well-rounded. I think he can't just be big. He needs to be able to do some other things. And yeah, I agree.
He's able to beat up on college. Iowa played Illinois in the semifinals, and Garza got dominated by Kofi Cockburn or whatever his name is. I mean, so I just really don't see Garza with a huge NBA future, and that's too bad because he also probably could have won the Wooden Award last year. I think he probably deserved it more last year, but yeah, I'm
surprised he didn't come out last year, honestly, because like his draft stock was at an all-time high last year. It's never been as high as it was, though. He was at least a lottery pick last year.
Oh, no way!
Isn't that the top 16? If you're 15,
if you're told you're a lottery pick, he would have come out. I don't think he was. I don't think he was valued as a first round pick last year.
I don't know. I thought
he's someone that came into college that had almost probably already reached his ceiling. Like, except add like a more consistent mid-range game and like defensive work, there's not much you can add to his repertoire.
Yeah.
And it sucks. Like I said, I think they're a good team, but he's a good player, but he's just a good college player. I mean, he reminds me of a guy like Tyler Hansbrough. I love Tyler Hansbrough. I would probably take Tyler Hansbrough over any college basketball in the history of college basketball. Also because I'm a North Carolina fan.
Yeah.
But I mean, he stayed all 4 years, and I think he won at least one national championship, dominated Duke. But I mean, I don't think he was a late first round pick, and maybe not even that because, I mean, back then people actually still like traditional big guys. Nowadays they hate traditional big guys.
I'm checking to see where he got drafted because I thought he was a little higher than late first round. Yeah, he was a 13 pick. He was a lottery pick.
Whatever. I'm just telling you, Luka Garza is not going in the lottery. I don't think he'll go in the first round. I take that back. I think he will go in the first round. Well, I don't know, because if you think about who's going to be picking at the end of the first round this year, you got to look at the Nets, the Lakers, those guys, and I don't think they have any need for a guy like Luka Garza. I could see a team like the Spurs picking him up, but
yeah, where they're gonna be low enough where they can use him. But yeah. I'm trying to pull up where someone. I'm looking at NBA Draft Stock Watch, and it said why Luka Garza could be Poi, the Player of the Year, yet not be selected and still stick in the league. That's.
I think he's a big body, so he's gonna have an NBA career as a big body.
Right.
I mean. I can't.
ESPN. What was that?
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say ESPN and 24/7 has him as a second round pick for the 2021. So you're not the only one thinking this. I haven't heard any of it because I honestly haven't been caring about what happens to players after college for a while now.
Yeah, I haven't either. But I mean. You could just tell by the way the NBA is played today. There's just no real room for him. All right, go to the next game.
So after USC, there's Kansas versus Eastern Washington.
Kansas.
Yeah, Kansas is just the better team, and that's why they're 3.
and Eastern Washington's a football school.
Who have they put out from football?
I'll give you a hint. He plays for the Rams.
Cooper Kupp?
Yeah.
I was good. I was a good hint. Kansas is a notorious basketball school, and Eastern Washington squeaked in because they needed a 14 seed.
I wouldn't say they sneaked in. I would say they probably won their conference tournament.
Probably. Okay. I just don't. I don't follow.
I mean, Kansas had in the past couple of years, they have had a knack of losing early.
That's what I've been hearing, and
it's so funny because Bill Self gets his hair gets all messed up at the end, and he's all sweaty. It's pretty funny
because he's heated, bro. He takes off his jacket. Oh man, it's great. I actually do. It's funny you say that because in about half my brackets, I have him losing in the round of 32 to USC most of the time. Because that's Anyway. Next game is the 7-10, where we have Oregon versus VCU. I think for me, I've split this. I've split it even, and I think I have 3-3 because I feel like I always split 7-10 games because they're always two teams that are really close. Normally,
same thing as 8-9.
Yeah, it's the same exact mentality there.
I got to tell you, I don't know much about, even though I have gotten a lot more into it this year, at this point, I don't know much about Pac-12 and West basketball other than Gonzaga. So what was the game?
Oregon VCU.
Very simple answer. Shaka Smart no longer coaches at VCU. I take the other team.
All right.
I mean, because when you do your bracket, people always think you can. Sometimes it's just common sense. Oh wait, Shaka Smart, their best coach ever, doesn't coach anymore. They're gonna lose. So
That's fair. I like I said, I split. I think that in my original bracket that I did, the first one I had Oregon as a gut feeling, but that's a toss up.
When I do my brackets or like think about brackets, I just want different things to happen. So I do that too.
Honestly,
honestly, there's a lot of games where because I obviously don't sit down and like look at the scores, like look at their ratings and everything. And honestly, sometimes it's just like what I told you. It's just that it's like VCU doesn't have Shaka Smart anymore. They're gonna lose.
And that's a really good way to look at it. Instead of going
I respect people that look at all the numbers and everything, but I don't obviously do it. But like, hey, I've guessed the game before, being like a wolf could beat up a spider. So
it's funny you say that. My school's mascot put out his March Madness mascot bracket, and it's the same bracket as here, but he puts all the mascots. And he's like, fill them out based just on the mascots. I guarantee that you'll do better by picking the mascots than you would picking the actual games. So I filled one out, and I'm gonna look and see because it's completely different than one of my brackets here, just based on how cool the mascot is. So like,
you know what else I'll say? I don't know if you are legally allowed to do it. Yeah. I don't know if you gave on March Madness. I don't do it as much as I used to. Like I used to be. Like coming out of March Madness like 5-6 years ago, I was very I had no money like multiple times. So I don't do it as much anymore. But I need someone on like Twitter, or there needs to be like an app before games that shows you what jerseys the teams are wearing.
Right.
Because if Baylor's coming out in the highlighter green, and I know that, I'm 100% going with Baylor. But like the other day, they played Kansas State, and they didn't wear their highlighter, but Kansas State came out in all black. So you're like, all right, well, you can't bet on Baylor then. So.
Absolutely not. Any team that wears all black because they're dressing for the other team's funeral, automatic loss. They lose like 9 out of 10 times. It's crazy.
That's the one where you circle on your calendar and you're like, bro, me and my bros are gonna get murdered up and we're gonna beat the crap out of somebody. So we're gonna get murdered out. So yeah, but that's just because I obviously March Madness. I know people get into it and look into it like that. I refuse to do that much anymore, other than gambling on it. But I just want crazy things to happen. Like. Now that I'm not like a 12 and 10-year-old North Carolina fan when I would cry when they didn't win the national championship, it's just like I want North Carolina to win, so I'm going to pick North Carolina to win. Or it's like I want a 14 seed to go to the Final Four, so 14 seed's going to go to the Final Four.
Yeah, I do that to a certain extent. And like when you're building your bracket, you have to know like very, very rarely do all number 1 seeds make it to the Final Four. You know, sometimes some 2s are sprinkled in, sometimes a 3, a 4. Hell, last time or maybe the time before, Loyola Chicago was an 11 seed in the Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like you got to like realize like, okay, I need to have something other than number 1s. And sometimes it's really hard to not do that. And like even with my first bracket, my national championship, I'm going to give a sneak peek right now, is Gonzaga and Baylor. And I kind of hate it because like Gonzaga,
it's probably the most likely scenario.
Right. It's probably the most likely, but like, it's funny because like it could also not be, you know. So like I don't know. I when I'm building it, I try not to have as many number 1 seeds or number 2 seeds in there as I can. So like we'll get into the bottom half or we're into the East and I think you said we're gonna finish the whole side. We're gonna
so you gotta pick it up, bud. You gotta pick it up, bud. You gotta pick it up.
The last game.
Hey, the only reason we're going early today is because it's your birthday, so I can sit at the computer all afternoon.
Look, I could do it all afternoon, but like 7:00, I think that's when my family's coming.
I can't do it all afternoon. I can't. Okay,
we got
go
5
ahead.
hours, bro. This is all you.
It's not. You'll be talking to a blank screen.
I'll be talking to whoever's still watching.
Well, we got no one right now.
Woo!
There was at one point I saw there was 3. So
hey, love that.
Remind me once we're done here to put episode 13 on Anchor. I have to put that on Anchor.
Sure. I also know like a bunch of my friends and stuff watch it when it gets up on Twitter because for some reason the link on your Facebook doesn't let them watch it. But I think it's because they're not friends with you, but I don't think that's what it is. So I don't know. So a bunch of my friends wait till it's on Twitter and I tweet it.
I never watch it on Facebook. I always go to YouTube.
Yeah. Anyway, the last game out of the round of 64 for the West is Iowa versus Grand Canyon.
I was gonna win, but it's not as easy as a matchup as you would think.
Yeah, Grand Canyon, even though they're a 15 team, they're scrappy, bro.
Well, first of all, Grand Canyon is actually a decent team, yes. Have you seen any of their games?
Can't say that I have, no.
I guess probably not this year because we still had COVID. I mean, they have a student section that is comparable to Cameron Crazies. I mean, they're nuts. It's so cool. And I don't think he's the coach there anymore. But when they first came up to Division I, I don't know if it was like it was a familiar coach they had that I knew somehow, like not knew, but he was a name that I remembered. That got them into Division I. And, they're pretty good. I do think, though, that's a horrible matchup for them because, I mean, we kind of said it with Ivan Rabb played for them last year, USC. Evan Mobley. We kind of talk about the same thing as Evan Mobley, except it's bigger now. It's Luka Garza because as much as we talk about Luka Garza going to the NBA, no one on Grand Canyon is going to have anyone that's even capable of guarding Luka Garza. So, unfortunately, I mean, unfortunately, I would love to see Grand Canyon win. But I mean, that I think that in the NCAA tournament, in like tournaments like this or conference tournaments, obviously the guards like Kemba Walker, like they get all out of the attention and stuff. But I think you have a better chance if you're trying to win with one player, like kind of like a one freshman guy. I would rather have a big guy than a guard, or Cade Cunningham, because once you would have to look at it in the tournament perspective, like the whole year. You would have to look at it like that, because then you just know that once you get to a tournament, you got your 7-foot guy that maybe 6 or 7 other. Like 10, maybe 10 other big guys in the country can cover. So I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. So now I'm going to go down to the East to do the round of 64, and we'll just do it by round until we get to the Final Four.
Okay.
So first game, Michigan versus MSM/TXSO. So I think that's Texas Southern versus
and Mount St. Mary's.
Mount St. Mary's. So winner of that game plays Michigan. It's Michigan, and we're not even going to talk about it. Another 8-9 matchup.
I really don't think we're ever going to see a 16-1 again.
I really don't think so either, unless it's Virginia again, potentially.
Or unless it's a team like Virginia. We just talked about, like they allow teams to stay in the game. So I mean, Kent State took them to overtime earlier this year.
I do remember seeing that. I remember that.
They should have beat them, but
probably.
All right, so go on.
So our 8-9 matchup that, again, I split is LSU versus St Bonaventure.
I know the Bonnies have been good this year, but when I think of LSU, and I watched them play either in the semifinals, because I think they lost to Arkansas or Alabama. I don't know.
One of the two.
But I saw them play, and what team are we talking about?
LSU.
LSU. But yeah, other than what I think of when I think of LSU, other than obviously their coach literally being caught on the phone cheating last year, I remember that. And I also remember they are one of the staple schools for the movement in the NBA of the positionless player. I mean, they run like a 1-3-1 with. I mean, last year, 2 years ago, it was Naz Reid, who's a center in the NBA now.
Yep.
But they run that big. I mean, so I think they'll end up being just too athletic. And
they also produced Ben Simmons, I know, who 6'11" guard.
Is that where he went to?
Went to LSU.
I was playing NBA yesterday, and we were playing against Ben Simmons in the game. And for the whole game, I was like, I should know this, but I have no idea where he went to school.
Yeah, he went to LSU, and it's funny that you brought up the positionless player because he's a 7-foot guard. I mean, he can't shoot.
And yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, if LSU would have been probably, if you would give me 5 choices, I might have gotten it on the 5th try. I was for sure in like a Washington or like Oregon or something like that. I thought for sure he's West Coast, but okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I've split here because like I usually split 8, 9, and 7, 10 games. Even sometimes I split the 6, 11 games. But LSU is the team that I went with first because I think that's a much better system. And like the Bonnies have had a good year, like you said, but LSU just seems to have it all figured out. And again, it goes back to the argument that we kind of were talking about before. They've been playing a lot better teams this year and are more prepped for the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, other than the coach getting caught cheating, that's all I really remember.
Right.
So we'll go to the next one.
So our next game is an interesting one. It is Colorado versus Georgetown. And I know I'm gonna kind of go down the list a little bit on your outline, but this is the one upset that I find myself picking 4 out of 6 times in my brackets. I think Georgetown is Georgetown, Colorado. I think Georgetown could potentially. Yeah, it's a 5-12.
Okay.
Georgetown is on an incredible hot streak right now, like we talked about earlier, beating Villanova and Creighton.
Yeah.
And Colorado's just not exciting.
Yeah, I like Georgetown as well. The only thing I'll say is if they do win that first game, watch out. That's basically that could start a run to the Final Four.
Yeah, and like I said, this is just an incredible run by them through the Big East tournament, and they could just transition. They're deadly, and this is my one upset to watch this weekend.
Okay, I already gave mine. I'm sure I'm going to give like 12 more probably.
I mean, yeah, but you said pick one, and this is the one that I'm picking. I'm the most excited about this, not because I like Georgetown or whatever, but like seeing a 12 seed move on is always fun because they're not supposed to. Like I said, Georgetown's 13 and 12. They're not even supposed to be there.
But I mean, 12s beat 5s every year. It happens at least once a year.
That's true. We'll get into.
I'm actually pretty sure. Like the numbers, actually, it happens exactly once a year, like averaged together, like so.
Something like that.
No, I don't know. I mean, so definitely going with a 12 seed. Going with a 12 seed as your upset pick is not bad.
I mean, it's this game or another game that we're not going to talk about today, and I'll save it for next week. But it's another 5-12. Anyway, so yeah, I love Georgetown here. I think that's a great choice, but again, they're 12, so they could lose. Next game, if you're ready to move on.
Yes.
Okay. Florida State versus UNC Greensboro.
Florida State. What they produced Patrick Williams last year. I can't think of the guy's name this year.
So gross. I hated him.
Why?
I think I just hated him because the Bulls took him 4 or something. I'm looking him up.
Yeah, the Bulls took him last year. Scotty Barnes is who I'm thinking about.
Okay, I was gonna ask you who you were thinking about.
Yeah, Scotty Barnes. So Florida State always gets these super athletic, like point forwards. Patrick Williams was one last year. What's his name? I just said it.
Scotty Barnes.
Scotty Barnes. So they're really popular with the NBA, but Scotty Barnes is actually pretty damn good. I watched him play a couple times this year. He really is a clone of Patrick Williams pretty much, but he's a little bit more athletic. But
right.
It's going to be hard for any mid-major team to stay with a team like Florida State because they're so big.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Florida State should have the better prospects. They've played against better teams throughout the year, so they should be more prepped and the whole spiel. The next game is the 6-11 game, and this is going to be another really good one to watch because this could be an upset for not only this round potentially, but so the 6th seed is BYU, and they're playing the winner of Michigan State UCLA. And I know we were texting about it. How ecstatic do you think the committee was to get Michigan State versus UCLA as one of the first 4 games?
No, well, like you said, they probably moved something around to make sure it happened. But I mean, like we said last night when we were texting, that is going to be the most watched first 4 game ever. And I like Michigan State, and I like Michigan State to be BYU.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Even UCLA, though, UCLA's kind of come on the past 2 weeks or so. I think they haven't lost a game, and
they've been on a hot streak. The only thing that I will say about that really is I think March Madness, it really kind of sticks out which coaches have been there and which coaches haven't.
Right.
And Tom Izzo's been there a lot. And we all know, of course, the Big Ten hasn't won a national championship.
Sorry. Someone's in here now. I mean,
Tom Izzo. So, question for you: when was the last time a Big Ten team won the championship?
2011.
2000.
Wow, really?
Tom Izzo and Michigan State.
Tom Izzo. I knew. See, but here's the thing, though. I've always had kind of beef with Tom Izzo because there was the one year where they were a 2 seed and they were absolutely underrated. They should have been a 1 seed. So I had them winning the whole thing, and they lost to a 15 in the first round.
Yeah, I mean Michigan State plays a style that's somewhat
risky,
similar to Virginia's. So
yeah, it's risky.
I would say it's I mean I guess so, but I still like him.
I like him too. But either way, this is one that I split. Maybe I even went for BYU. But I agree. Actually, no, I think I split it. I really like Michigan State to win both. But even if UCLA continues their hot streak, I could still see them winning over BYU.
Yeah, BYU is a fraud 6 seed.
Yeah, I had them when I was looking at it. I was assuming they would be a 7 or an 8, maybe even a 9.
I can't.
6 just seems high.
I just can't believe BYU. Did they win the Mountain West? I don't think they did.
I don't think they did either. That's
no, they weren't. No, they weren't in the championship. No, it was Utah State and San Diego State. So I think that's. I mean, I guess I haven't really looked at BYU's resume super hard, but
do you know who won by chance? The Mountain West champ, either Utah State or San Diego State.
Is this a question?
Yeah, I'm asking because I don't know. I don't know who won. I didn't watch it.
San Diego State won by 11.
Right.
But Utah State I know is very good.
Utah State.
BYU.
BYU is a 6 seed.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. Are they in the Mountain West?
They just played Gonzaga, so probably not.
I'm probably going to cut off here in a second, so just keep going. But
sure.
So what's the game you're talking about?
I think they just played Gonzaga, so I think it's BYU and the Michigan State UCLA winner. But BYU is
either way. I like Michigan State. So
yeah, BYU is a 6 seed.
But I will say
San Diego. What?
I'm saying BYU is a fraud 6 seed.
Yeah.
They
BYU is a 6 seed. Yeah. The winner, San Diego State, who was undefeated all last year until 1 or 2 games, I forget. They're a 6 seed, and Utah State, who lost in a narrow game to them, is an 11 seed. So I just don't see how BYU is the equivalent of a San Diego State or another 6 seeds, Texas Tech or USC. I just don't see them on the same level.
I agree. They're a fraud 6 seed. The only good player they ever had is Jimmer Fredette.
Jimmer was the all-time great for college basketball. I absolutely love Jimmer.
Let's not go there. Let's not go there.
The next game that we got is
it's Adam Morrison.
Adam Morrison. The next game we have is
sexiest guy ever.
Sexiest guy ever to play. Texas versus.
Do you know Adam Morrison? Do you know Adam Morrison has a end of the world bunker under his house?
You've mentioned it, I think,
end
a couple
of the world.
Times on here. Yeah.
Yeah. I know where I'm going if the world's gonna end. Me and Adam are friends.
I'm gonna go hang out with Adam Morrison.
No, you're not. You will be locked outside.
Cool. I'll just keep banging on the door just to annoy you.
You can go.
What?
Go ahead. Just go to the next game. We're going way too long.
So we got Texas versus Abel Christian.
Okay, Texas. Means. Next one.
UConn, Maryland as the 7-10 game.
UConn easily, and watch out for UConn. Bo Knight, I think we both said it last week. I think Bo Knight is another guy that UConn that could do it by himself.
Yeah, I absolutely love UConn. I have them beating Alabama in some of my brackets, who's the number 2, and they're going to beat Iona. Let's not get ourselves here.
Who's the coach at Iona?
I don't know.
Rick Pitino.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my friend was telling me about that actually last night. I feel dumb for not remembering.
Yeah. I mean, Alabama should win. They're actually pretty good this year. But hey, I'm not out on a Rick Pitino run. That'd be great. I mean,
I don't know.
Probably. I mean, how much fun would the Iona players have on the trip? I mean, they already got to have strippers in their room. I mean, that's what Pitino did at Louisville.
I
mean, just hiring strippers for his players. I mean, those boys from Iona, they worked hard all year. They're getting paid right now.
They're getting paid. Okay. Do you want to cut off here, or do you want to go with the all the way until the final four?
Let's go to the 30. Let's go to through the round of 32. That way, when we come back next week, we'll be able to do the on and on from there.
Or on Wednesday, either or.
No, I said we're coming. We'll do the other side of the bracket Wednesday or Thursday,
and
then we'll do we'll do the Sweet 16 on each side next week. Yeah.
All right. So for the round of 32, Gonzaga, Oklahoma. I mean, Gonzaga. It's hard to see them losing.
I don't see. Honestly, we can skip this region if me and you both agree. I think Gonzaga wins the region.
I mean, yeah, but if we're just gonna, I'll just go through it quick.
Yeah, I mean that's fine.
I mean, I think Gonzaga wins the region. I have some changes just in brackets.
Okay, just keep going, yeah.
Okay. Creighton, Virginia. It's about a 50-50. I have Creighton because we talked about Virginia not being kind of for real.
I like OU.
OU, what?
OU
Ohio.
over Virginia, and then over.
Right.
So I like Ohio in the Sweet 16.
Wow. All right.
Remember the name. Jason Preston. Jason Preston.
Then I see USC is who I have winning, playing Kansas. I actually have USC winning.
I like Kansas.
I mean, yeah. That's one I split because usually
it's okay if Tom. It's okay if we disagree, man. It's okay.
No. It's fine. I'm saying like I usually split that game, but I had USC in the main bracket because like we talked about, Mobley is just an animal. And then Oregon, Iowa. I have Iowa.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who's on Oregon's roster. Yeah, I'll take Iowa. And
then if we go down to the bottom half of the bracket, Michigan, LSU. This could be an upset because we're talking about LSU and how their brand of basketball goes. I just don't see Michigan losing to the team like that.
Yeah, and I think ultimately what LSU tries to do is what Michigan actually does.
Yeah, like Michigan puts out 5 guys that can do everything.
Yeah. So, like I said, Michigan is better at what LSU does than LSU as it's what LSU does. So,
Right. The next game is either Colorado or Georgetown
I'll
versus
take
Florida.
Georgetown.
Yeah, I took Georgetown. So then it's Georgetown, Florida State. I
I
like
can't see him.
Florida State, but I
Yeah, I
really
can't see
want
him getting.
Georgetown to make that Sweet 16.
I'll stick with my pick. I like Florida State. I think.
I like it
I
too.
think that I think their side or their part of the bracket is relatively easy for them.
Yeah, I agree. So then we had Michigan State beating BYU and moving on to play Texas.
I saw Texas play on yesterday or Saturday. Texas is pretty damn good.
Texas is very good.
Both their big guys are good, and all three of their guards shoot over 80% from the line. So I definitely like him in a close game. But I like Texas. I think Shaka Smart. I think he's finally got, even though it took a little longer than expected, he's finally got his type of guys there. So I like Texas.
Yeah, I have Texas going very deep. I'm not going to talk about where, but I have Texas going deep. So I agree. Texas with that one. And then UConn, Alabama. That's a really good game. That's going to be a really good game if that happens. I have Alabama winning, but I would have loved to see UConn win.
Damn it. Oh, okay, never mind. I thought I clicked off it again or exit out of it again. What was the game? Oh, Alabama.
Yeah, Alabama, UConn.
I usually don't trust Alabama. I think it's hard for football schools to really pull off both things. They're more than capable of doing it. I'll go with Alabama. I think the SEC was tougher this year. I don't know. I just go Alabama.
Yeah, so that's going to round out this half's round of 32.
Who are they playing?
What do you mean? I can't hear you and you're lagging.
Is it who is Alabama playing?
UConn, I said.
Who are they playing? What's their game again?
UConn. You're lagging so bad, bro.
Who is Alabama playing?
UConn.
Oh, okay. Okay. I still like Alabama.
Yeah, that's what I said. Okay. So that rounds out our that rounds out the round of 32 for now.
All right, move on.
Move on. I thought you said we're just going to the end of round of 32. And then we revisit next week and do Sweet 16. I can't hear a word you're saying, and you're cutting in and out video wise.
Okay.
Oh, and there he goes. I think that was all we were gonna do today. I don't know if we're gonna do the Mount Rushmore of teams not to win a title. If Justin gets back on, I will ask, but I do not have time for that today. Oh, there's Justin. Hello again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but it's really delayed.
Okay. Well, then
I'm like
we'll
just hearing it now.
finish this. Close it out.
Yeah, so that was all I think we had time for. So
Okay. We'll close it out. That's fine. I'm losing Okay. That was episode 14.